As a person with a very deep voice, I'm hired all the time for advertising campaigns. But a deep voice doesn't sell B2B, and advertising on the wrong platform doesn't sell B2B either. That's why if you're a B2B marketer, you should use LinkedIn ads. LinkedIn has the targeting capabilities to help you reach the world's largest professional audience. That's right, over 70 million decision makers all in one place. All the big wigs, then medium wigs, also small wigs who are on the path to becoming big wigs. Okay, that's enough about wigs. LinkedIn ads allows you to focus on getting your B2B message to the right people. So, does that mean you should use ads on LinkedIn instead of hiring me, the man with the deepest voice in the world? Yes, it does. Get started today and see why LinkedIn is the place to be to be. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Go to linkedin.com/MPN to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/MPN. Terms and conditions apply.
Entrepreneurs Enigma is a podcast for the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. So the wins and the fails that we all face being entrepreneurs, how we learn from adversity. Every week I talk to a different entrepreneur with a story to tell. I'm Seth Goldstein. Come with me on the journey. This is Entrepreneurs Enigma. Let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Entrepreneurs Enigma podcast. I am, as always, your host, Seth. Today I have an awesome guest, someone who actually likes to do social media for other people and businesses, and she does a great job of it too. Holly Medwid has been an entrepreneur since 7, when she was, in her own words, hustling the women at church to buy her Avon products at age 7 or 8. That's incredible. That's just awesome. So hustling is kind of not maybe the right word for it, but she's been an entrepreneur from the very beginning, and I think that's awesome. And she now runs Monarch Social Media, and her content's fantastic, and they do great work. They do the stuff for the client. They actually implement it. Whereas my stuff, I don't implement it. I do the strategy and give it to them and say, you implement it. They do the soup to nuts, which is like really awesome and brave, maybe. So Holly, how's it going?
Good. Thank you. I've never heard it described as brave, but I appreciate that a
It's
lot.
brave. It's brave
Mhm.
because you put something out there. You then have to watch the news for the next 3 weeks, making sure that what you put out there, you didn't put your foot up your backside. For your
Yeah, I
client,
mean,
and it's not for yourself, it's for your client.
oh yes, there's a lot of brand standards and reputation management that goes into what we do. That's for sure.
And all the people on Instagram saying, put this on Reality Records. I'm like, no, I don't even know how to put it on Reality Records. No, I don't even know how to do that, number one. Number two, why would I? So,
Yeah, that's the right question to ask. Always, when somebody says do something, you always ask why.
no,
I,
I just do an Agora pulse and hit check. Look at that. I love when they get saucy at you. And they're like, why haven't you replied to me? I'm like, because you're a spammer. Like,
oh,
act.
you just touched on one of my favorite things that happens on Instagram. Is people think doing social media means copy and pasting messages to everybody who fits a criteria, which is wrong.
Oh my God. And I love the ones that like the spammy ones are like, hi, honey. And I'm like, but then it's hi, honey, to business and email. And I'm
Uh
like,
huh.
honey does not go with business email. Like, clearly English is not your first language. No fault of yours. But I'll have a chuckle, then I'll delete because it's like, or dear. They're like, hi, dear. I'm like, no.
Yeah, I do that with the bros that say, "Yo, do you want this many reads?" And I'm going, if you're gonna address me with a yo, no.
Or how about yo, Holly at least?
No, they don't even do that.
I know, but use your first name at least. Like, not yo.
Yes.
Or yo, sup. Yo,
Uh,
yo. Or sup. I
so,
got a few sups too. I got a few
yeah.
sups. We're running off the rails here. It's like we're commiserating about the pains of social media.
Oh, that could
Well,
be an hour-long conversation
hey, we can
just in
have
and
it,
of itself.
absolutely. But so Holly, you're up in Toronto,
Yes.
right along the water, or
Mhm.
you say water or water?
We say water.
You say water.
I say water. Yeah.
Yeah, I say water. I'm from Philly. We say water.
Well, that's okay.
Well, it's fine. No one knows what I said. What's water? So anyhow.
I know what you're
Anyhow, so
saying.
exactly. So you have been hustling and doing the entrepreneur thing since like you're a small person.
Yes. Yeah. I'm so lucky to have a family that like it's a lineage of entrepreneurship. And
Oh,
so
really? It's not just you.
oh no, 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 no. It's in my family, it's weird to work a corporate job.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
yeah, I remember when I got fired without cause from a job in my
Is that allowed
20s,
in
mid
Canada?
20s. Yeah, they have to package you out. And I can tell you why I
Oh,
got, yeah. But I remember calling my dad and saying, I just got fired. And he goes, good. And then I called
oh,
my
I love
mom and
your
I
dad
said,
already.
oh
Oh, I
yeah. I
love your
said,
dad already.
I call my mom, I was just fired without cause. She goes, oh, I'm so happy to hear that. I don't come from a normal family in any stretch of the
That's
imagination.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Your dad's like, "Good." It sounds like a
Mhm.
dad statement too. It's good.
Good. Yeah.
You're fired.
No, good.
Now get to it.
No, they don't, yeah, family business has been something that goes back generations. Yeah. It comes down a lot to innovation and needing to innovate because of the way that my family immigrated to Canada over 5 generations ago. And, big thing with my family is seeing opportunity. So the 7-year-old thing, um, I was in church. There
I
was
can't
all
stop
these
laughing.
older ladies who have their lipsticks, their Avon
Yeah.
lipsticks and their hand creams and all that kind of stuff. And I somehow figured out that I could sell this to them and make money. So,
Most kids are doing lemonade stands. You're selling Avon.
hey, I cleaned up. I did well. I was profitable. So I did it under my
Did you
mom,
get the
but
Beamer? Did you get the Mercedes? Like, and you're like, "I
no,
don't have a driver's license yet."
no, I didn't go that far. I worked to the whole network of the church. Everybody bought from me at least once. And then we actually moved churches. So that
Oh,
put
so you
an
had to
end to
double
my
dip.
Avon career.
Oh,
I
you
tried.
didn't go back, you didn't try the new shirt. Oh, okay, alright,
No,
alright.
no. I started another hustle after that.
What'd you do after that?
My parents had a window covering manufacturing business.
Ooh.
So we used to vertical blinds, we used to manufacture them in our basement. And so,
Oh, wow, that's
um,
really entrepreneurial.
oh yeah, used to do like there used to be chains that go in the bottom to connect all the vertical blinds. And I used to make
Yeah.
those chains. I would get paid $5 for a whole roll. It would take hours. So my parents got a really good
Good
deal.
for trouble.
Oh yeah, definitely. But it just didn't stop. Like it's always been
Love it.
businesses of some sort.
And then you went off to college. I noticed you
Mhm.
had a little brief stint.
Yeah, well, digital TV, not television
Digital,
networks,
alright.
but yeah,
Yeah.
online. Which videos did you find? That would have been at the beginning of my career.
It was more screenshots of you interviewing people, so
Yes. Okay. So I used to work for that was when I was actually in university and I went to school for
yeah.
writing. I was never planned to be in marketing.
No one plans to
No,
be a marketer. I
nor
was a
should
journalist
you.
for 6 years, like, whatever, yeah.
Okay. So you
Yeah.
get it. Yeah. I was in school for creative writing and I had a blog to practice the craft of writing just to
Makes
get into
sense.
that creativity of brand voice, personality, all that. And I use social media to get traffic and promote the blog.
Foreshadow.
Foreshadow.
Yeah.
Oh, well done.
Thank you.
So it started doing really well. I started getting invited to events around Toronto, started getting like small brand deals here and there. And
Love
then,
it.
yeah, there was a company there's a path that goes underground Toronto. It's like over 30 kilometers long.
Ooh.
Kilometers, not miles.
No, I'll let that pass. I'm not gonna let you
Thank
make you
you.
convert it, but, it's
It's
long.
okay. It's a big underground space and there's shopping and retailers. So
That's something
the
that
Toronto
happens in
path,
Canada. Montreal has big underground too.
yeah.
I guess
Well,
'cause it's
you
so
mean
damn cold.
winter.
It's so
Yeah.
damn cold up there.
Yeah, exactly. So these approached me and they said, hey, we noticed you're doing this for
Yeah.
your blog. Can you do this for us? We'll pay you. And I said, yes, obviously.
Of
And
course.
why would you say no? I was putting myself through school, working 3 jobs. Like I wanted the money.
For one more
And
job, why not?
why not? And I was in class one day and writing tweets for this company. And my professor goes, Holly, if you don't pay attention in class, you're never going to get paid as a writer. I looked up at him and I went, I'm being paid to write right now. And that
Why did you
was
say
the last
that?
semester. Oh, nothing. What can you say to that? What do you say to that? You can't. And that
Okay,
was the
very good.
last.
Continue, yeah.
Yeah. And so at that moment, I kind of had this light bulb moment of why am I going to spend the next 4 years paying for a degree when I could just jump into this career? And then that's how the social media and marketing side of things took off.
I just dove head first into it.
Yeah. I mean, opportunity. It was a
Yeah,
brand
if
new
you have it,
industry.
go for it,
Yeah.
and more now people are saying, like, if you have the opportunity to go for the opportunity, don't, feel like you have to follow that same old stupid path that everyone did before.
I think now we're starting to realize that path is not one that leads to security or profitability. It
Just
actually
that,
leads,
just that.
not all the time. Like for some
No.
people, absolutely. But we're dealing with it right now, especially my generation. The student loans are almost unbearable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
There's a
incredible.
better way of doing things.
So then when did you start Monarch?
I started just over 2 years ago. Yeah. So a few things happened. One, naturally, my father bought another company.
Of course, he's definitely an
Oh,
entrepreneur, like, find the
I
weird
feel
side.
like
Yeah.
you want to talk to somebody interesting, you should get my father on this podcast.
I will get him on,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah.
Is
So,
he as bubbly as you?
no, no, I get
Then
this from
maybe
my
we
mother.
won't. Maybe we won't. Maybe
Yeah.
he's kinda more straight laced. Well, he did say, like, one word, I got fired. Good.
Good.
So, good.
Yeah.
We're gonna take a quick break, hear from our sponsors, and get right back to the show.
As a person with a very deep voice, I'm hired all the time for advertising campaigns. But a deep voice doesn't sell B2B, and advertising on the wrong platform doesn't sell B2B either. That's why if you're a B2B marketer, you should use LinkedIn ads. LinkedIn has the targeting capabilities to help you reach the world's largest professional audience. That's right, over 70 million decision makers all in one place. All the big wigs, then medium wigs, also small wigs who are on the path to becoming big wigs. Okay, that's enough about wigs. LinkedIn ads allows you to focus on getting your B2B message to the right people. So, does that mean you should use ads on LinkedIn instead of hiring me, the man with the deepest voice in the world? Yes. Yes, it does. Get started today and see why LinkedIn is the place to be to be. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Go to linkedin.com/MPN to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/MPN. Terms and conditions apply.
So,
That's like my dad. He goes to a point and he just stops and leaves you hanging, and they're like, "There's like, wait, you have any more?" He's like, "I ran out of things to say. I'm not gonna make stuff up." I'm like, "Ah,
I appreciate that level of directness. There's no fluffy words. It's just information communicated.
absolutely, the true entrepreneur." So he started up a rice processing plant in Manitoba.
He bought it. Yeah, it was already in existence.
Okay.
His one of his best friends was running it before then. He's always been involved. And I don't know if you've ever had like authentic wild rice. Have you ever tried to eat
I'm
that?
not sure if it's authentic. I mean, it's wild rice.
Well, there's some that's actually grown in the wild, and then there's some that's grown in patties. And most of the
Oh,
stuff. Mhm. So we get access to the best quality in the world because it's in lakes in northern Manitoba and Saskatchewan where there's no pollution. There's no boats allowed.
there's also no humans.
Barely any.
Yeah, yeah, we're talking about Canada here. It's like Canada and Australia. Everyone's on. Well, Australia's around the coast, and Canada's along the bottom coast. It's just you go farther
Well,
north, the freezer took us off. So
yeah, well, exactly. That's where the plant is. Very cool.
yeah,
There's again an opportunity to bring this amazing product to a retail market. So that I decided, okay, I need to focus a lot of effort on here. So
yeah.
I was the head of growth marketing manager, so head of growth at a startup for the mortgage
Ooh,
space. And yeah, it was a great job, great position, loved my boss, all that kind of stuff. But
you saw opportunity knocking again.
I saw opportunity knocking, and at the same time, it was like first year into the pandemic, and I had so
Oh,
many business owners reach out for advice. And I track my time like it's a religion because I need to know where to optimize. And
yeah.
I
Right.
did the calculations. I gave over $30,000 away for free of consulting and realized, oh, there's a need here. Quit the job and started an agency and
Never
building
looked
both
back.
the yeah, no, I haven't. It's been quite the ride, that's for sure.
It's definitely a ride, ups and downs, and during the so you started this during the pandemic.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez. Oh my god, that is brave.
Mm.
But I started at Gold Me in 2008 at the banking crisis, so, that's when most people do stuff, so I can't knock
I
you for it.
yeah. No, and that's every time it's hard not to get sucked in by the doom and despair of, upcoming
Yeah,
recessions. At the same time, I think that if you're the kind of person that can see the opportunity, then man, you're in a good position.
amen. Since you've been an entrepreneur your whole life, you have had some stints in corporate North America. What's the best thing about being an entrepreneur?
I would say probably the fulfillment. The corporate world. I've done the startup world. Things move very slow in those worlds.
Oh, it's
And
It's
Yeah, it's very painful. And my experience of the corporate world was, the people that are doing the work usually just they're not executives, they're the people that actually do the work. They move the needle and then the credit is taken by the executive and the
mhm.
directors and all that kind of stuff. And, at the end of the day, a lot of those positions are not qualified to do those jobs and they don't have the
Yeah.
understanding. At least that's been my experience and a
Mhm.
lot of experiences of people my age. And
Yeah.
my brain doesn't like that. It doesn't like the slowness, the games and the bureaucracy of
Oh,
those
absolutely.
organizations.
Mhm.
So I would say the reward that comes with entrepreneurship, I can say the upside is like every result that happens is so deeply fulfilling. And
Yeah.
if you're somebody who likes to build things,
Mhm.
then entrepreneurship gives me that constant hit of dopamine when I build something and
Yes.
it works. Yeah,
Oh, it's so much fun. So much fun.
it's, it
So on
is.
the other
It's
side,
exciting.
what keeps you up at night then? What's the scariest part about being an entrepreneur? If you can name one or two things. It's always more than
Uh, one or two things. I would say, you know, the uncertainty of art. There's no safety in the corporate world either.
no, especially
Um,
now.
no,
Don't go
especially
watch
now.
anymore.
You can get fired like this. Like, 'cause
At least in Canada,
bad
you get
things
severance.
you do. You don't get that in the States.
Not always. It's
That's
rough
not
down
good.
here. It's rough down south.
Yeah.
Usually you get a severance, but, like, you can
Yeah.
be it can be shit canned without severance.
Well, and so I guess the risk is on both sides. Is there's not
Yeah.
a lot of security there.
Yeah.
You kind of have to create your own security. But it's not really being certain of the outcome. A client can decide any day that they want to go in a different direction. And
Yeah.
there's not a lot that you can do to be like,
Yeah.
well, okay, you don't want to neglect this part of your business because it's like your mouthpiece to your, oh, all right, no problem. The other thing that keeps me out, well, I mean, I work in social media. So,
You got
um,
if there's a crisis, you gotta be like, "Oh, are my clients affected by this? Should I take things down? What?" Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of especially during the pandemic, when you're dealing
Mhm.
with a little bit of controversial subject matter, like in Canada, we were locked down really hard. We had to have a vaccine passport to go to certain businesses. Like if I wanted to go to a fitness class, I had to be double vaxxed to go there.
Wow.
And
It was that way here for
which
a
is
little bit, but then it's America. It's not even America, it's America.
it's
It's
America.
it's America.
And
So
Americans do not put up with that.
oh
Canadians do
god,
not.
we don't. Canadians are a lot more
No.
or well, they at least appear to be more agreeable, except for those truck drivers in Ottawa. I was like, "Well, that's very
Well,
American of them." I was like, "Wow, that's very American of them."
well, that's the thing is when you tell somebody they can't come to your business, that can turn into a storm on social
Mhm.
media, regardless of your own personal, because that's the thing, you can't have personal opinions in this job. You want to be good at this
No.
job, you have to be completely not biased one way or the other. So
So hard, yeah. Same thing in journals.
it's very
Yeah,
hard.
you gotta
Yeah,
keep your shit to yourself.
exactly. And you can't let it affect you. So I think it's really just the hardest part is the mental battle that goes on constantly with this work.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
So, what is the most important thing to carry with you all the time?
I was just gonna say thing that's attached to my hand at all times.
Because you're in social media, you can definitely say your phone and you can pass that's one of probably the most important things to have with you.
I think the most important thing besides my phone carry
Yes.
with me is the ability to see things for what they are and not to
Mhm.
look to the past or the future. Really, I know as cheesy as that sounds, being in the present moment is and aware of what's happening around you is really important.
You
Because
have
if you're too future thinking, then you're missing the opportunities that exist in that space. If you're looking back too much, you're missing the opportunities that exist in that space. So I would say
oh,
presence
yeah.
of mind is the most important thing.
Yeah. Even just walking down the street, being having presence of mind, even in Toronto, gotta be aware of what's going on.
Yes, definitely in Toronto right now.
So where can people find you online? Monarch social media, most places, right?
Yeah, across all platforms, Monarch social media. As Holly Medwid, I am not active on social media. I left
I have been
2018.
busy enough.
That's exactly it. But what makes a good social media marketer is not somebody who's a social media consumer.
Ooh. That's a drop the mic moment right there. I love
You
that.
know?
And you just
um,
have passively consuming as you do your work, so you get your fix anyhow.
well, we're in so many different echo chambers on behalf of our clients, right? Because every client has a different target demographic. So again,
True.
our personal bias cannot come into it, or our personal interest cannot come into it. If I'm
Very diverse.
engaging on
Yeah.
very diverse, and again, that's what makes a good social media marketer, is the ability
Mhm.
to immerse yourself into any world and
Yeah.
not be personally affected or have personal opinions play
Or
into what you're doing.
at least vocal
So
personal opinions. I mean, telling a human not to have any personal opinions is baloney, you know?
don't have any
But
personal opinions publicly.
yeah, kinda keep it on the DL, and that's kind of another reason why I'm not an implementer. I'm more of a strategist because you can find me everywhere and I have an opinion. Because for the 6 years as a journalist, I wasn't allowed to have an opinion, and I'm like, "Well, I was allowed to have an opinion, just keep it quiet." And then
Mhm.
especially I worked out in South Central Pennsylvania, which I can say is, like, probably like Manitoba. It's very cow, very not many humans, and the humans you come across definitely don't align with me, so I had to keep my mouth
Mhm.
shut. So I have stories. That's for another day, but definitely. So more on social media, on the socials. You can follow you. I mean, you are on LinkedIn as yourself,
LinkedIn,
and you
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
have to be because you are the
yes,
figurehead,
yes.
and you have to have some
Yeah,
place to
that's
talk
the
about.
only platform. Oh, 100%, and that's probably, if you wanna connect with me directly, go to LinkedIn, that's the easiest place, but you can also email me directly, holly@monarchsocialmedia.com, that's also a quick way
Don't
to get
spam her,
me.
people. Don't spam her.
I've got some
Actually, I
pretty
just
good
laugh.
software.
You actually had a really good reel on social media about how trolls were actually complimenters.
Oh, I love
I
trolls.
love that, and I commented. I was like, "It's still not nice, but still, it was pretty
Well,
funny."
first of all, you need to have a good communication crisis plan in place to deal with that
Yeah.
when it comes, but what I'll tell everybody, because 'cause you're gonna get attacked by trolls at some point. It's
Oh,
a
yeah.
good thing.
You can be a
Like,
rice
it's a
farmer
really
for
good
crying out
thing.
loud, and they'll find something about rice to troll you about. Trust me.
Oh, they have.
Oh,
No, they have.
oh, they have.
I like, that's one of my best virals, happened because I offended people about the way I cooked rice.
Oh my god.
No, it was wonderful, like, I want it to happen again, and I'm
Love it.
serious because it brings all this other all this other engagement, and you have
You went viral on cooking rice. Love it.
yeah, they were upset. They were like, "That's not rice," because a lot of people haven't seen
Oh,
what
they're
wild rice
purists.
is.
Oh, they're
They're
purists.
whatever. It's everybody has their opinions, and, what it did was it got this video seen so many times, and then it caused a bunch of people on this side to say, "Yes, it is." And so all these conversations were happening back and forth, and
No,
here it
no
is.
news is bad news. That's the
Wonderful.
thing. No
It
news is
drives
bad.
engagement rate like nothing else.
Love it. And guess
Mhm.
what? That's a great place to end. Holly, thank you for being on the
Thank
show,
you.
and we'll see everyone next time.
Thanks for having me.
That was a great show. If you're enjoying Entrepreneur's Enigma, please review us in the podcast directory of your choice. Every review helps other podcast listeners find our show. If you're looking for other podcasts in the marketing space, look no further than the Marketing Podcast Network at marketingpodcasts.net. Goldstein Media hopes you have enjoyed this episode. This podcast is one of the many great shows on the MPN Marketing Podcast Network.
You may know you're listening to this show along the Marketing Podcast Network, but did you know there are other great shows on MPN to help your business? Sean Swaim hosts a great podcast called SEO Last Week. Sean, tell us what these fine folks will get when they listen.
Anybody who listens to SEO Last Week will get all the updates of what's going on in the world of SEO in about 15-20 minutes or so. So that way you can stay up to date with what's going on Google without having to dig through 60 different blogs to do so.
That is super useful. Where can people subscribe?
Hey, we try to keep things simple. You can subscribe at Marketing Podcasts with that second S.net, or you could just search for SEO Last Week wherever you get your podcasts from.
You heard him, folks. Go subscribe. This podcast is heard along the Marketing Podcast Network. For more great marketing podcasts, visit marketingpodcasts.net.